I say, technically wise, we can handle the Netherlands. I think I tell my brother this a lot. I think we missed our opportunity by not coming here. Don't go to Spain. Don't go to the UK. Don't go to America. Come here. Come to ADO Den Haag. You don't have to go to Ajax. You don't have to go to Ajax. You can come to ADO Den Haag. You can go to Sparta. You can go to Excelsior. You can go to those three clubs and harness your skills, and the chances of you making it to the Premier League or to Germany or to Spain is better than going to the UK.
Hi, this is Dwight York.
Hi there guys, it's Sol Campbell here.
Bonjour, je suis Samuelito.
Hola, soy Juan Sebastián Verón.
Hello guys, I'm Chule Yaya.
Hi, this is Brad Friedel.
What's up guys, Nico Paneka speaking. Please join me.
Agradezco la invitación.
Join me in full support of the Islands Cup Open
Coming summer 2021.
Island Cup Open.
The Island Cup.
I'll be there. Let's do this.
Good day and welcome to another edition of Football Insight. Football Insight is presented by Caribbean Sports Management Group, and my co-host is Calvin Blankendale from Bermuda, Vernon A. Springer based in Antigua and Barbuda from original St. Kitts and Nevis, and we've come together to be able to create a content for football legends, not only in the Caribbean, but in the diaspora. And the football legends include both male and female. Our special guest today is from Bermuda. He's also originally from St. Kitts and Nevis, Troy Douglas, and it's a name which you would maybe hear for a very, very long time. He has a story. I'm not going to even try to see if I can be able to read out his entire bio because it might take up the entire program. But what I will do is just go straight into the action and just take some time out to be able to salute all of our sponsors who have made this podcast really possible. So we want to thank our entire team and all our sponsors, Altitude and Island Cup Open, who we continue to be able to make sure we let you know that nets will shake in 2022. And hopefully, you just never know. We might maybe just see Troy Douglas on the field in 2022 with the Island Cup Open beaming around, maybe not as a coach, but maybe as a player. Troy, welcome to our special program, Football Insight. Who really is Troy Douglas and how Troy Douglas got involved in sports?
I'm originally from, like you said, my grandparents are from St. Kitts and Nevis, and I'm originally born and raised in Bermuda from a well-to-do, hard-working, passionate family, and we love life. And I've got involved with sports through my brothers. I have three older brothers, and one of my brothers was one of the best cricketers in the island of Bermuda's ever had. And my other brother has been more than a brother. He's my mentor. He's my confidant. I go to him for anything when I'm in any kind of problem I'm in. And he's the one that's pretty much guided me through most of the path that I've been in my life. I started out in cricket, and I was disappointed that I didn't make the local cricket team. And that same year, I had made the national track and field team. And he said to me, my oldest brother, Stephen, he's told me, I think it's better you take up track and field. And from that moment, I stepped on the track to run track and field. My whole life changed from the age of 17 up until the age of 40 years old when I decided to stop with track and field. And I went into my own business. So he was the one that pretty much created this athlete, Troy Douglas, athlete coach, and helped me through brainstorming different ideas of how I want to become a better person. He was the one of the biggest inspirations behind me being who I am today. So I give a lot of credit to him and my parents. And so that's who I am. I'm just a simple sport-loving individual from Bermuda, and I'm proud of where I'm from. and I just want to spread my knowledge and my love for sport and becoming a better person through sport. And that's all I do for the rest of my life, and I'm proud to be doing that. And it led me to where I am now in the Netherlands, and I work at one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and yeah, it's an honor to work at this football club. So yeah, and I've learned a lot from football from outside of being a fan. I never saw myself as a football fan. I'm more of a cricket fan than I am a football fan. So I just yeah, that's probably made my transition from athletics into football much easier because I'm not that much of a football fan. I'm a fan of my work more than a fan of the game itself. So that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so successful working in the football club that I work at right now. Yeah, I hope that's a good roundup of who I am.
Of course, coming from you is not only good, it's super. So you understand what's happening.
Thank you.
Give us a historical perspective of where your family was originally from in St. Kitts and Nevis, because this will be covered in St. Kitts and Nevis in the wider part of the world. So, there are a lot of people who will be watching this interview and they might be able to remember and say, well, my mommy and daddy was from Molyneux, or I don't know if you remember the area.
I know the area very well. I've been there 2 times. I was planning to go there this Christmas. My father's people are from the Warners. They're from Brown Hill in Nevis. And my mother's people, my father's people are Douglases. They're from Brown Hill. My mother's people, they're Warners, and they're from Sandy Point in St. Kitts and Basseterre. And
we're talking some deep history there. We're talking about a true St. Kitts and Nevis icon. And those 2 areas are very powerful areas that have produced some outstanding leaders. We're talking about the Sandy Point area, which is almost, if we follow by history, originally it is supposed to be the capital of St. Kitts.
There is?
Yeah, really, because that was the first thing. I don't know if you ever listen and you hear them saying that the first town. You always hear Sandy Point was the first town.
I didn't know that. No, I never.
So when you would have when you had the situation with the war, Brimstone Hill, if you remember the positioning of Brimstone Hill and where Sandy Point was, it was really dubbed to be. So there's a long history behind it. I mean, and if you stand right up on Brimstone Hill, then you can understand how important it is why Sandy Point was called the first town. Because it's almost overlooked almost everything. You could see the entire area. We'll get Carl to come to St. Kitts and Nevis one day, so he'll be able to get to enjoy what we're talking about.
I'll be there. I was looking forward to going this Christmas, but I have to cancel that and probably go in 2022. I'm making sure I'll be going down because my 2 sisters live in. One sister lives in Saddles Village, and my other sister lives in Nevis. So I'll be looking. I'm definitely going back next year. Yeah.
All right. Athletics.
Yes.
Sprinter or a long distance runner?
I was a sprinter. I ran 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters. My first Olympics was 1988. My last Olympics was 2004. I was at the World Championships when Kim Collins was world champion. I was sort of a helping hand in helping Kim Collins. I never coached him. I was just able to listen to him and listen to his frustrations in being an athlete and coming from the situation that he was in. And in a way, just help him keep cool, keep his head calm, and tell him, keep him positive in a way. And so, yeah, I did 4 Olympics as an athlete and 1 Olympics as a coach. And 88 my first, 92 my second, 96 my third, 2004 was my last Olympics, my one and only Olympics for the Netherlands. And in 2012, I was relay coach for the Netherlands relay team, where we were 5th at the Olympics in London, and we were European champions in the European Championships in Helsinki. So, yeah, it was a pretty illustrious coaching career. And in 2012, I moved back to Bermuda to be head of the National Athletic Federation, where we were trying to be responsible for bringing not more athletes into the sport, but try to educate the coaches to create a better coaching program so that the athletes that we have will be better facilitated. And the program, I must say, is a successful program. We have a lot of good coaches now that's able to help facilitate the young talent that we have in Bermuda, and work together with our middle school system, because we have a very good middle school system. And if we send our coaches back into the school system, it helps the schools and the athletes, develop better athletes. Yeah.
Let me pick your brains. Your best times.
My best time over the 100 meters was 10:09 at the World Championships in Edmonton in 2001. My best time over the 200 meters was 2019, and that was in Rieti also in 2001. And my best time in the 400 meters was 45:26. That was ran in Atlanta in 1996. And so, yeah, that's my times. Yeah.
Folks, if you're wondering what's happening, this is an honor for Kyle and myself to be speaking to an Olympian in the way of the Football Insight.
When your body is challenged, it burns fuel and energy. Respond to every challenge with Altitude Sports Drink. It replenishes, restores, and prepares you for the next level. Altitude is uniquely formulated with an electrolyte blend and magnesium available in fruit punch, blue frost, and grape. Altitude. Raise your game.
Let me take this opportunity to say how delighted and excited I am to be part of the Island Cup as an ambassador. I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's a great initiative that will give our young footballers in the region an opportunity for them to highlight their product. So I'm really looking forward to it, which will be hopefully happening next year. We know that we are going through some trial times at this particular time with COVID-19. Let me just take this opportunity to say to everyone globally to continue to stay as safe as you can. Also to continue to try and fulfill all the requirements which are on board for you to stay as safe as possible. God bless.
Hi guys, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank here, ex-Leeds United, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, and the Dutch national team. Please join me for the Iceland Cup. I'll be there. But in the meantime, stay safe. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and I'll see you. All the best. Bye-bye.
We haven't got to the football segment yet, but it shows you in life how the transition of sport just continues. So you just don't get binded, even though we have some modern day coaches who seem to want to marginalize the children into one aspect of sport. In fact, when I grew up, I played all sports. I was athletics, football, cricket, you name it, because it helped you. Now, the modern day coaches are tending to have the children specializing in one area, and I think that is affecting their motor skills and even their thinking and their fitness areas. Because it's amazing. You have cricket coaches today in the Caribbean who don't want the children to play football. But if you look at cricket warm-ups, they're playing football. So why not allow Kyle to go and play football?
I guess what you're saying is one of the things that we've been preaching for the last 20 years is that kids need to specialize in other sports to help their personal growth. Because if you look at the way we've changed as a people, our lifestyle has changed. And what I mean by that is we have become more middle class. So we've grown so much that we don't allow our kids to go out and play. We kind of coddle them in a way, and we send them to different sports, expecting the sport to give them what we had. But actually, we're not giving them what we had. We're taking away what we had. So what we need to do is to allow our kids to go outside and play, allow our kids up until the age of 15 to do 3 different sports. That way, it helps them in their growth, and it helps them to just be better individuals. And when they make a decision to choose a sport at 14, at 15 or 16, then that decision is their decision. It's not our decision. And what you're saying now is a lot of decisions are made from our decisions. So we decide that my child is only going to focus on football, but then somebody like myself who works at a football academy, I see that this kid has other skills in other areas. That in my job, what I do is I train them in the other areas so that they are aware of what their true athletic skills are, and that they can apply that to their football skills. So that's pretty much that's the only answer I can give you to why we're not doing that. So yeah.
Just before I get Carl to come in, and I'm just going to shift a little bit to the athletics area, where you indicated that you had a chance of seeing Kim Collins become the world champion. What was that moment like for St. Kitts and Nevis? Just recognizing that, because in fairness, he has not really got his dues that he's really drew in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I say that broadly. I don't hold back any punches on that. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis built a athletic facility, named it Silver Jubilee, and then came back sometime after and named it the Kim Collins. Now, you can't have somebody like a Cal Blankendel who becomes a world champion of Bermuda. You have a facility named after him and you name it something else. I mean, it's just almost disrespect. And then we have August 25th, which was supposed to be named the Kim Collins Day. And up until this day, he still can't be recognized. You're talking about somebody who became a world champion in athletics from St. Kitts and Nevis, a small nation, and our people have not got a grasp as to what we're talking about. I've traveled with Kim as a journalist, and my buddy, I've had to put on my spikes because we're in the airport and people are running you down. They want a picture, and you sometimes have to shield him, but that was what he brought to St. Kitts and Nevis.
I think what you're saying is so true. What was it like? It was a proud moment for me because of my ancestral roots, and I felt like it was a peace of mind. But if I look at it from a global perspective and being with him, we competed together on the Grand Prix circuit. I think the proudest moment was not when he won the World Championship, but was after the World Championships. We had to continue on the Diamond League circuit, and we were in Berlin. And we were in Berlin, and we were warming up for the 100 meters. And we looked at outside the warm-up track, and there was a small crowd of people waving the St. Kitts and Nevis flag. And that was a moment for me. We haven't even entered the stadium yet. So this was at the warm-up track, and all I saw was the St. Kitts and Nevis flag. And then we're walking to the stadium, and you see like five different areas. You see the St. Kitts and Nevis flag. And I looked at Kim, and Kim looked at me, and we looked at a friend of ours from Nigeria, and we looked at a friend of ours from Namibia, and we looked at each other, and all we could say is, Kim, you're big, man. You're big. You're worldwide. And we went from Berlin. We went to Zurich. The exact same thing happened in Zurich. We went to Paris. The exact same thing happened to Paris. And wherever we went, we saw that. And I think people don't realize the impact of being a world champion and what the impact and what the selling point it made for your country and where you're from, and made people recognize where St. Kitts and Nevis is. I mean, I live here in the Netherlands, and Kim Collins is huge here in the Netherlands. And when they talk about Kim Collins, they actually put up a map of the world, and they show the people of the Netherlands where St. Kitts and Nevis is. And they tell them how big the country is and how much people is in that country. And that's something beautiful that we, as a people coming from the islands, I think we kind of take for granted, that our heroes are heroes not only in our country, but our heroes are heroes outside of our countries. And our contribution is such a huge contribution. But that moment was a proud moment for me, that even today, if you mention Kim Collins, people remember that World Championship. People remember that the guy from one of the smallest countries in the world at that moment won a World Championship from lane one. People don't realize that he won it from lane one, and he beat some of the biggest guys in the world at that moment. So it was a beautiful moment for me, and I'm so proud to be that I was there at that moment to share that with him. So yeah.
I think, Cal, we're going to have to get Troy back on the value of sports so that we can quantify what a flag means to money for tourism. Because
Yes.
as Troy just put it out there, they were on the circuit. So every time you see a flag, somebody's going to be inquiring. So just check how many times somebody goes to Google search St. Kitts and Nevis. Because people who go to those Grampy meets, when they see the flag, they're going to be asking a question. Where's Bermuda? Who's that person? He's from
Yeah.
Bermuda.
Yeah.
Who's that person? He's from St. Kitts and Nevis. And
Yes.
they go on the devices and they try to see if they can learn about the country. Now, your tourism budget, any small nation tourism budget, you can't pay for that. You can't pay for that sort of advertisement. And Troy and Kim Collins and those guys are ambassadors. And I don't think sometimes that the technocrats in the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Tourism and the government officials really understand that. This is something I've said all the time, Troy. If you put our prime ministers, you name it, from whichever Caribbean island, with any sports star, whether Usain Bolt, Troy Douglas, or Kim Collins in Gatwick or in New York, anywhere, and folks start passing through the airport, nobody's going to recognize the politician. Everybody's going to recognize the athletes, whether it's a Usain Bolt, a Troy Douglas, a Kim Collins, a Shelley-Ann Fraser, a Elaine Thompson, you name it. It's just quite remarkable. And sometimes it's hard for me, Troy. And that is one of the reasons why I designed the program. Because when you sit down in a room and you listen to some technocrats talk about sports people, they consider sports to be like for dummies. And we still in the 21st century, we're still going through that myth. You know, you have institutions in the Caribbean who don't want the children to go out and play sports. They don't want any sweaty children to come back into their classroom. But yet still, when Bermuda wins a medal, everybody's jumping up. So how you think that Troy? How did you think that Troy won the medal? You think Troy just automatically just came up and won the medal? It's because of sports why he won the medal. So his inspiration to the younger boys and girls in Bermuda is supposed to be able to drive that process to go forward.
I understand what you're saying totally. I think particularly for us in the Caribbean, sport does have that stigma. And I think what I see here at my job working in football, one of the things that's changing that stigma is sports science, and sports science is pretty much an engineering degree. And sorry. No, I lost you. I'm still here. I lost you. Yeah, it's an with sports science, you pretty much need an engineering degree, and now with the use of an engineering degree in sports, people are beginning to look at it differently because of sports science. But they still realize that it takes the individual to make the science actually for what it is. So that's kind of breaking down the stigma of going out there and beating yourself up to do something. So I think in the next few years we are going to be more accepted. I would use Jamaica as an example. If you look at Mr. Francis and Mr. Glenn Mills down there in Jamaica, what they're doing at the University of West Indies by using athletics and using sports science, and how they use their facilities with the minimum amount of facilities that they have. They're actually using science in a way, and the brute of the force of the individual's athletic ability to bring a different perspective to it. So maybe if we look at what they're doing in other islands, in Jamaica or Trinidad, then or the Bahamas, then we would look at ourselves differently. So we do need to look at our brothers and sisters in the other islands to look at our images as well. So I would take a page out of their book if I can. Yeah.
When your body is challenged, it burns fuel and energy. Respond to every challenge with Altitude Sports Drink. It replenishes, restores, and prepares you for the next level. Altitude is uniquely formulated with an electrolyte blend and magnesia available in fruit punch, blue frost, and grape. Altitude. Raise your game.
Let me take this opportunity to say how delighted and excited I am to be part of the Island Cup as an ambassador. I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's a great initiative that will give our young footballers in the region an opportunity for them to highlight their product. So I'm really looking forward to it, which will be hopefully happening next year. We know that we are going through some trial times at this particular time with COVID-19. Let me just take this opportunity to say to everyone globally to continue to stay as safe as you can. Also to continue to try and fulfill all the requirements which are on board for you to stay as safe as possible. God bless.
Hello everyone, my name is Ayong Eno, professional football player. I've played with Standard Liège in Belgium, AJAX Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and also in the Fulham FC in the Premier League. And I'm inviting you to this exciting tournament coming up. That's going to be the Island Cup Open Cup tournament coming up in 2021 summer. Make sure you support it and be part of it. I also want to encourage you to make sure you keep the sanitary rules, wash your hands, keep the distance, stay safe, and let's all fight COVID-19 as we ought to. See you soon, and then make sure you support. Bye.
Yes. Good to have Mr. Troy Douglas, what we say an onion from the small island of Bermuda.
Yes, my boy.
Similar to St. Kitts and Nevis. Troy doesn't know that, but I have unofficial lineage to St. Kitts and Nevis through my grandfather who adopted my mom. So I've never been there, but I will definitely try to get there as soon as we get through these challenging times. But Troy, most people are not going to believe that you are in the Netherlands. So we are going to show that you are also part Dutch. So, goedemorgen.
Goedemiddag, Kou. Hoe is het, jongen? Goed?
Goed. So for those who are listening, that is a traditional greet in Dutch to say good morning or good afternoon, similar as you would do in the islands. And then yes. Troy would say, how are you doing? And I'm saying, I'm fine. So Troy, this is Football Insight, sponsored by the Island Cup Open. A fantastic event that's going to come in 2022 with players such as Yaya Toure, Samuel Eto'o, Sebastian Veron, Jamba. Eno, who we just talked about, is also a former player of Ajax. And maybe you can be part of that as well. They are the sponsors of this segment.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to be a part of that.
Yeah. So with this Football Insight, let's go right to it.
Yeah.
When we say Troy Douglas, no one mentions football in Bermuda. No one says he was a good player. He scored so many goals. He was fast. He was a goalkeeper. He was a coach. But Troy Douglas from Bermuda, Olympic star, champion in athletics, is now at IXFC. Let's speak on that.
Yes. What do you want to know?
How did you get there? Because in Bermuda, we would not hire you, honestly, for the national team. We would say, no way, he doesn't know anything. But IXFC, who is known for developing youth players into global stars, all about sports science, a small club, even though it's big in the world, about selling young players to keep the club alive and making them to global superstars for the Dutch national team. And they hired Troy Douglas, who has never kicked a football as far as we would say in Bermuda. How did that happen?
I got an email and I thought it was a joke. And I went in for an interview and they were telling me what they were looking for. They were looking for someone to teach the football players to be more economically in his running style, because Ajax plays a special way. And one of the ways they play is they play in a triangle. and they've been buying a lot of good youth players, but they were not developed. They were fit enough, but they were not efficient enough in their running technique. And they were looking for someone who was capable of changing their running technique, not to be like a sprinter or a marathon runner, but to be more football related. And my name came up 5 out of 6 times, and they just sent me an email, and I went in for a meeting. And that meeting, I didn't know at that time, was an interview, and they had already hired me in their minds. And I was, I was like, okay, if you want to hire me, it's okay. And I took the job, and I went to work, and it snowballed into the position that I have today. And it's been a great experience. I've worked with some of the best football coaches, and by working with the best football coaches, I learned to develop what they're looking for, and I developed a different way of making the football coaches more aware on how to use their running efficiency. And in my first year, we didn't win the league. We got second that year, but the next year we've won the championship every year since then. And I've helped develop some of the football players that everybody in Bermuda knows, and I've worked really closely with them. And they're playing at some of the biggest clubs in the world outside of Ajax: Chelsea, Juventus, Manchester United. I can't even name any more names, but at Barcelona, they're playing at some of the biggest clubs, and it's an honor to work with these guys and to learn what I've learned as a track athlete and also as a coach, to bring it and introduce it to them to help them become better football players, basically. Yeah.
All right, so in Bermuda, I'm going to be like, Troy, come on, keep it real. So you got to call out names. Who are those players you've worked with?
You probably heard of Matthijs de Ligt. He plays for Juventus. Frankie de Jong, Serginho Dest, they play from Barcelona. Hakim Ziyech, he plays for Chelsea. Donny van de Beek, he plays for Manchester. Max Wober, he plays for Red Bull Leipzig Red Bull in Austria. Brian Brobby, he plays for Red Bull Leipzig. Justin Clifford, he plays for he's on loan in Nice. And the list goes on and on. I can go on and on. I'd be watching football, and I see guys that I work with. I don't believe that. I'm like, wow, I work with guys that I call off 2 different types of teams. I can call off 22 guys that I've worked with. So, yeah, the list goes on and on and on and on and on.
That's fantastic. Now, what is your role at Ajax? I mean, we know it's going to be athletic base and running. Is it extensive? Is it only on the mechanisms of moving your arms and legs? Give us something you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, I have a double function right now. My biggest function, my main function right now is I am responsible for the periodization of the guys in young Ajax. That is the second team. That is the guys I'm responsible for making sure that these guys come into the first team not only fit enough, but also biomechanically and prepared to handle the speed of the first team. So what I do is I go in every morning, I meet with the head coach, I meet with the medical head coach, he gives me the training program, and then I go into my first meeting at 8:30 in the morning, and my first meeting is with the first team and the second team, medical staff, and the performance staff, and we go through every athlete and make sure he's fit enough to train that day or whatever his weaknesses are. And I said, okay, this is a training. Can he do this? Can he do that training today? And I say, yes, he can. And then I report back to the head coach with the head of the medical team. And we make sure that all 22 guys are fit enough to train. What I do is I'm on the pitch at 11 o'clock or 10:30 every morning. And my warm up is based on what is needed in the training for today. So most of the time, we always begin our training with a warm up, and then we go into a position play, and from the position play, we go into another position play, and then we go into a shablon. And a shablon is a sort of, I hope I'm explaining it right, where it is a positional play, but it's more of a positional play of attacking and running the triangle route. And what I try to do in my warm-up is my warm-up is based on those three exercises. And if the position play is small, then it is a pure speed warming up. So I do a lot of speed exercises that come from track and field, but I do it in a football way, in a football form, and I try to add a ball to it, because most of the football players do not understand what I try to explain to them in a track and field terminology. So I have to use a football terminology, and I have to implement a football specific exercise that would help them understand what I'm trying to change in them biomechanically. So I work closely with the football coach, and we pretty much come up with a exercise that's going to help that football player understand what we're teaching him that day. So yes, it is using his arms. Yes, it's using his hips. Yes, it's using his mobility from his hips. Yes, it's using his feet work, making sure that he has the correct tension on his feet to execute what he needs to execute. So all those tools are implemented in my warming up. So every day I am trying to create a different warm up, which is pretty creative. But in the creativeness of that, I always stick to three themes. And that three theme is going to keep me for the whole year. That's something I figured out myself, and it's coming from track and field. So I try to keep three exercises in my theme, so that those exercises would help the athlete understand that part of his body. So I start training with them in June. We start our preseason training in June, and I introduce the three exercises to them. And I tell them we're going to do these exercises 3 times a week. I know it's boring to you, but I want to do it in a way that you understand why you're doing it. And mostly between June and the winter break, they have it under control, that I take it out of the warming up and I allow them to give me the feedback. And then with their feedback, I always try to implement that same exercise a different way, so that they could feel their feedback. And I hope that's a good explanation for you and how I do my work every day.
Yeah, that's a great explanation, because coming from the small islands, we don't have the sports science and the specific trainers that does something that's related to the actual match day activity. We generalize and we will get the guys' bodies parts moving for the training session, but not be specifically related to what we're doing. That's because sometimes we don't have the experience and we don't have the amount of time sometimes to say, coming after work, we are going to spend this much time on one area. But as a professional environment, for those that don't know, AJAX whole purpose is to develop young players, to bring them into the first team or the premier team, and to sell them off, because every time they sell a player for $20 or $30 million, that keeps the club afloat, and that keeps them being the first team in Holland. Now let's talk about expectation level, because I'm Dutch. People should know that from Bermuda by now, but around the region, AJAX is similar to Manchester United, Liverpool, and now Manchester City. If AJAX doesn't win the championships, it's nothing like it was a good year. It was a failure. How do you feel that pressure at the club? If you know what I'm talking about.
I feel it every day, because my locker is right next to the head coach. So I come in every morning, and I feel it. I could feel it from him. I've been at AJAX for 4 years, and at 4 years, I've been to 3 different head coaches, and my locker has been next to every head coach. And I walk in the morning, and I feel it. I see it on his face. And because I'm such a positive person, I look right at him, and I could see him stressing about it, because the Dutch press is very hard. They're calling for his resignation. And it's like, if he loses 2 games back to back, he's literally panicking. And I look at him and I said, listen, it's 2 losses. It's 2 losses. just go home and have a good glass of wine. And he just looks at me and he starts laughing. He'll hug me, he'll shake my hand, and he'll say, Troy, thank you for being positive and keeping it real. I was like, look, man, look, I know what you're going through. It's tough. Just go home and enjoy your family. And I see it, I feel it, and I like it. I like pressure because being an Olympian athlete, being an individual athlete, you feel that every day. You live under pressure. Performing under pressure is one of my specialties. So to me, that's where you see me at my best. And I'm at my best at that moment, and it's a fun time for me. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I've kept this job for so long, is that I know how important it is that for us, we have to overwinter the Champions League. We don't even have to get through the winter. I think we have to get back to the semifinals, and we have to contend to make it to the finals. With the team we have this year, I think the possibilities are endless for us. We can make the finals with this team, and the hardest part is keeping that pressure on yourself and on the players and being relaxed under pressure. So it's there. I feel it. I love it, and it's part of the job. It's like you said, coming from Bermuda, I don't think Bermudians actually understand what kind of pressure it is, because it's not only the pressure from the Dutch press, it's also the pressure from the English press, it's the pressure from the Spanish press, it's the pressure from the Italian press, because we have guys on our team they're not going to last long. If I tell you that the team that we have a bench that could start anywhere in the world. We got Nico Tagliafico coming off the bench. We got David Neres coming off the bench. We got this new guy Dorami coming off the bench. So it's incredible. We have midfielders coming off the bench. We have a striker coming off the bench that could be starting any team in the country right now. But that's our bench, because we need these guys for the Champions League. So our team is a good team, and the pressure's there. I feel it. I work with the first team 3 times a week. And so, to be on the pitch with these guys 3 times a week is fun. Yeah,
and let's put it into some dollar sense, because, again, this is about explaining it to all of the islands in the region, also Bermuda. Manchester City buys Grealish for $100 million, right?
Yeah.
Ajax budget is not $100 million a year. So the pressure is even more on you, because they can buy players which they believe are ready made. The pressure for Ajax is not only to develop, but you have to get those players on the pitch to show their value. And then they also have to compete in the actual game to make sure you win against a club like Manchester City and Manchester United, who can buy any player in the world they want, besides financial fair play. But Ajax cannot do that. So do you give the coach information as well, saying, you know what, this is the one I think is ready for this week's game, not just on a healthy level or a fitness level, but if you say sometimes, coach, I think he can do it today, or do you stay away from that?
I purposely stay away from that. I put it to you differently. The coach comes to me and he says, I know he's capable of doing it, but he's not doing that. And I'll give you an example. When I first went there, my first project was Matthijs de Ligt, Donny van der Beek, and Hakim Ziyech. And those 3 guys. And those 3 guys delivered so much money to Ajax. And I was really naive in how much money they delivered to the club. I was just only focused on my job. And my colleague recognized that in me. He says, I'm just understand what you're really, really good at. The fact that this guy is going to deliver us a lot of money doesn't interest you. The only thing that interests you is you're really curious about how good, not only how good he is, but actually making him realize how good he is, and he can feel it, that when he goes on the pitch, you can see what he's doing. The coach could see it, but you see things far beyond the coach. And the head coach actually trusts me to do my job, that he would say, go to Troy. Just go to Troy. I don't know what it's saying to you. I don't know what it's doing with you. Go to Troy. And so for a head coach to allow me that kind of freedom, I didn't realize it that was not done for a performance coach at the level that I work at, and that was a huge shock for me. It took me almost 2.5 years to get used to the fact that the head coach will come to me and says, "Troy," says, "Yes, Hilaire has a problem." So what's his problem? His first 2 steps are not good. And I look and I said, his first 2 steps are good. No, Troy, he's missing a step there. I said, he's not missing, he's not finishing it. Then how do you make him finish it? Okay, I'll come to the training on Wednesday afternoon. He says, no, come to today. So I go on the pitch and I look at it and I just go to Hilaire and I make an exercise and I show him what the coach is looking for. And I show him the exercise and he gets the confidence and he does it over and over and over, that he will go in a game and I see him hesitate and I get a film and I show him that he hesitated doing it and he says, yeah, I did hesitate. That by the next game he does it, that by the third game he has it under control, and he's unstoppable. He's so unstoppable that he will come to me by the 5th game and he'll say, Troy, I don't know what to do with this. I said, yeah, man, go out there and get lost. Go out there and get lost in this new feeling that you have. And once you have that new feeling under control, then you're able to come back to me and say what else you need done. That way, you know you're in charge of your body, you're in charge of your skills, you're in charge of your speed. And that's basically what I do. And that's what a head coach gives me so much freedom in doing that. Every head coach that I've had on the first team or the second team has given me full freedom to do what I do best. And so I'm thankful that I have coaches that give me that freedom. I'm thankful that I have a manager that's head of the performance that gives me that freedom. So that's where they give me the opportunity to shine as my job as a performance coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. I mean, imagine someone from the Davos Hill area dealing with world superstars, from Ajax going to play for Chelsea, Juventus, Barcelona, etc. Keeping the club going from a financial point, not just you, but we understand the importance of selling on players, not holding on to them in Ajax, letting them go for a large profit. But let's go back to you being able to take the coach's feelings or instructions and making a player feel comfortable with them or teaching them in a different way. Does that come from your athletic background, being at the starting line, only having one opportunity with the start gun? You cannot make a mistake because you're out of the event because of the full starts, and having to really listen to someone who was coaching you and saying, hey, you are missing a step, or you need to extend, or you need to bend early, or you need to, move forward quicker, whatever those terms are. Does it have any correlation between athletics and football?
I think a big, it does, but I think a big part of it is that I'm just realizing this now, is that my coach that coached me in the Netherlands, the reason why I moved here, is one of the biggest innovators in coaching in the world. His name is Henk Reinhoff, and he worked at Juventus, and he works with he used to work at Juventus. He's now an advisor, so a lot of clubs call him for advice, and I was able to be his experiment for 15 years of my career as an athlete, and being able to work with him for 15 years. Everything that I'm doing, I actually went through it. I felt it, I experienced it, I understood it. I know the science behind it. And I understand why they decided to create that exercise. And so everything that I'm doing, I lived it. I lived it for 15 years. So for me to hear and understand and observe, that is come from being with my coach. And it's also come from being an athlete, because as a sprinter, exactly like you said, is I am responsible for doing what I have to do. And I'm also responsible for beating my opponent. So I have to observe my opponent. So the ability to observe, you get that from being an athlete. Also, I have to think back to my father. My father's a farmer. We had chickens, we had cows, we had pigs. And every afternoon I used to watch my father, and he would just sit on the garden and just overlook everything. And it took me years to realize what he was doing. All he was doing was observing his animals. He observed them so well. So I would attribute that as a learned trait from my father. That's something that's probably I learned, and it's a gift that was given to me from my father that I didn't realize that when I went to work with my coach and became an athlete, I actually harnessed my own skills from myself and made them into something that I didn't realize that I had in me. So, working with my coach, knowing that my father gave me a gift that I didn't realize until I became a professional athlete, that observation is the key. And it's trusting what you see, it's trusting what you hear, and it's trusting when you hear somebody say something, they may use a different tone and they also use a different words. And I have the ability to pick out the key words in what a coach is saying. I have the ability to pick up the keywords in what the athlete is saying, and I have the ability in taking that and teaching them from the keywords they give me. So that's one of the key things that I've been able to use in my coaching career. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So just want to recognize our sponsors, the Island Cup Open, which is going to be kicking off in 2022. This is the Caribbean Sports Entertainment Management Group platform with our podcast segment, Football Insight, under the direction of Mr. Vernon Springer, who had this great, fantastic idea to launch these stories from the Caribbean or persons from our diaspora into the global world so we can tell our own stories in our own way.
When your body is challenged, it burns fuel and energy. Respond to every challenge with Altitude Sports Drink. It replenishes, restores, and prepares you for the next level. Altitude is uniquely formulated with an electrolyte blend and magnesium available in fruit punch, blue frost, and grape. Altitude. Raise your game.
Let me take this opportunity to say how delighted and excited I am to be part of the Island Cup as an ambassador. I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's a great initiative that will give our young footballers in the region an opportunity for them to highlight their product. So I'm really looking forward to it, which will be hopefully happen next year. We know that we are going to some trial times at this particular time with COVID-19. Let me just take this opportunity to say to everyone globally to continue to stay as safe as you can. Also to continue to try and fulfill all the requirements which are on board for you to stay as safe as possible. God bless.
Hi there, guys. It's Sol Campbell here. Former Tottenham, Arsenal, Newcastle, Portsmouth, and of course, England international. The Island Cup starts next summer, 2021. Be there, guys, because I'm going to be there. All the best. Stay safe, wash your hands, and wear your masks. See you there, guys.
Basically is the whole purpose behind it is we have to find a way to keep an athlete fit the whole year. So what we do with our periodization is we monitor them. First, we have the build-up period that is in June. We started on the 24th of June. We have a build-up period and we have a 3-week period. What we do is we take the data from last season. And even though we may have a different group, we use the data from last season to use that as our goal. So what we do is we test our athletes first, football players. I call them athletes, but they're football players. We test our players before they come in. And together with the performance staff, we go through every test. And with the load that we expect them to, we want them to achieve, we know the deficiencies that they have. We pretty much adjust their load to their deficiencies, but they have to be after a 6-week period. They have to be fit enough to hit the load that we have allocated for them for, let's say, for the 3-month period. And that's pretty much how we work on our periodization and how we want to build our athletes. I hope that's a good explanation, but we pretty much use our data, our testing system, and the data from last year, and also the data from not only from the last season in the regular football season, but our end goal, our main goal is we have two base groups, and that is the Champions League level, and that is the Dutch National League level. Our main goal is the Champions League level. And if we can get, let's say we have a sprint test, we have an agility test, and we have a jump test. If they get 2 out of the 3 in the Champions League level, along with the average kilometers is 8 kilometers a game. If we can get that out of them in a period, then we're doing great, and that's our goal, and that's what we try to do with our periodization. I hope that's a good explanation. I think it's one of the things that people underestimate is the mental part of it. It's I think one of the hardest part is, I'll go back to what Usain Bolt. It took him 12 years, but it takes you 10 years to build the physical and the mental capacity. And you really learn how to be patient in 10 years. The first 5 years are very difficult, but they're fun, because you're at an age where it's so much fun. So let's say I remember Usain started when he was 15. So I think between 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, they were the fun years. But I think between 20 and 25, that was the difficult part, because he knew he had to prepare the 5 years before. He had to take those 5 years before to the next 5 years. And that was the biggest challenge in his development as a sprinter. And it asks for a lot of self-reflection and asking yourself, who am I? What do I need to do? And how do I motivate myself every day? That was one of the biggest parts of going through it. The biggest part was asking yourself, motivating yourself, but also I think on the 8th year, you always get to the point, 8th and 9th year, you always get to the point, like you said, about throwing up. And to throwing up is no problem. It's accepting the fact that if I have to do 8 times 300 in 36 seconds with 2 minutes rest, I have to accept the fact that on number 4, I'm going to feel pain that I never felt before. But that pain is going to help me get over the edge and understand that the 400 meters start at 300, that if I could actually accept that and understand that, then I can handle the next 4 300s at 36 with 2 minutes rest. And I hope I explained it very well, but it's such a mental game to yourself that you literally find different ways to make yourself get over certain hurdles, that you become sort of addicted to challenging yourself. And that is one of the fun parts of the whole process of being an individual athlete, that you literally become your own best friend, and you can also be your own worst enemy. So that is the hardest part of being an individual athlete, but it's the fun part. And I had no problem with it, because my main goal was, I really wanted to know exactly what Usain Bolt said. I really wanted to know what I had to do. So I was more curious about me, Troy Douglas, myself. And so I had to do a lot of soul searching. And sometimes you don't like who you are at that moment. But if you understand and experience who you are at that moment, when you step on the track, you will be able to smile like Usain Bolt of Gabriel Selassie used to do. They're the only 2 athletes I've ever met in my life who step on the track and they had a smile on their face. And their smile was from the simple fact that I know what I did, I know what I went through, I'm comfortable with who I am. And that was something that watching those 2 guys made me realize that, okay, now I understand it now. So yeah. Funny you said that. One of the guys that He got silver medal at the Olympics on the marathon. He's a Dutch guy, and he's also one of the guys that wears the shoes from Nike. That shoe is designed with a lot of technology and a lot of feedback, and a lot of the feedback comes from the athletes themselves. And the athletes do know where the shoe is going to help them. If you go back and if you think about, oh my God, her name slipped my head now. The Olympic champion from Jamaica. Oh my God, I'm dead. I'm terrible. Elaine Thompson. If you go back to Elaine Thompson, she always had Achilles problems. And these shoes, do they help the Achilles problem or do they make it worse? I don't know. But I do know if I watch Elaine Thompson or I watch the marathon, I can literally see the effect of that shoe being put into place. And so I do believe in the technology of the shoe, but I also believe it takes an athlete to understand the technology of the shoe in order for the shoe to be successful. So the marketing behind it, Nike has every right to market it the way they want to market, because the people that made that possible understand the technology behind it. And they knew that if I run a marathon in these shoes, he said to me, if I get to mile 26 of the marathon, that's where the marathon starts. I'll go back to what I said earlier on about running the 400 meters. The race starts at 300. So in the marathon, the race starts at mile 26. So when they get to the 26 kilometer point, they know, okay, now this is when the race starts. This is when I have to use the shoe. This is when my biomechanics totally change. And I'll go back to football. I'll go back to the track and field. I'll go back to the 100 meters. If you look at Elaine Thompson over the 100 meters, yes, the start is very important, but 30 meters is important. The race starts at 60 meters. So you could see the technology of the shoe in the start, in the first two strides, but you could also see how she accelerates between 30 and 60 and continue to accelerate from 60 to the finish line. That is her biomechanics. Her biomechanics are almost textbook, but with the help of the new shoe, it makes her biomechanics even more effortless so that she can pretty much fly through the air while she's running 100 meters. So I do believe in the technology, but like I said, a lot of it has to do with the athlete understanding why he's using these shoes. So you can get people off the street who's going to try the shoes and they're going to say, yeah, they feel good, but they don't have that next level of discipline to actually go and do what a world-class athlete can do. So yeah, I don't blame Nike for selling the product the way they sell it. It's smart. So yeah, that's my take on it. Yeah. There's two sides to the story. Number one, first of all, a major company does not take a Caribbean island very seriously. That's number one, because they feel there's not enough people in that market that's going to sell my product. That's number one. Number two, Nike has a reputation for not treating any athlete properly. So that's not only limited to the Caribbean. I can go back to why did Allyson Felix leave Nike? Because she went on maternity leave, and they did not want to honor her maternity leave. They literally wanted to cut her contract. And the same thing happened to Elaine Thompson. They put stipulations on you. So the Human Rights Organization and Allyson Felix took Nike to court, actually made them change the whole concept on how they are going to treat women. Not even the athletes, just women. How they literally can tell a woman in 2019 that you should not get pregnant. You cannot put that in a contract of in the 21st century of a woman today. Not if you're a major company like Nike. So that has to be told to the world. If I go to Usain Bolt and Puma, I think what the world doesn't realize, Usain Bolt and Jamaica saved Puma. When Puma decided to sign Usain Bolt, that Olympic Games in Beijing, Usain Bolt's coming out party, and they outfitted the Jamaican team. The sales that they sold around the world it's still unheard of to the day of today. That's why Usain Bolt is treated the way he is by Puma, because he took Puma from nothing to something. He brought Puma back into the forefront, and uh, they knocked Nike off the pedestal. But Nike is able to maintain itself in the market because of it is an American company and it has more major teams in other professional sports. But to the point on how they treat Caribbean athletes, it's the same way they treat women all over the world. So it is a way, it's something that we, not only from the Caribbean, but we have to ask ourselves, why do we allow a company to disrespect not only us, but also women, period? For saying a woman, like I said about Alison Felix, or any woman that gets pregnant, saying, okay, we're going to cut your contract. That should not be heard of in the day and age of this time. So I think we have to call it the way we see it. And yes, they still think that small islands don't sell enough product for them to keep their financial self afloat. So that's also one of the takes they throw at us all the time. I know they threw that at me. They threw that at my colleague Brian Bauman when he was world record holder in triple jump. He couldn't get the contract that an American athlete got because of the simple fact he's from a small island with 60,000 people. But I'll go back to that. If you go to a world championships and they see Brian Bowman that he's coming to jump, you will see Bermuda flags because of Brian Bowman. So that sells something. So that's something that the company has to realize as well, which they don't look at sometimes. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think it'd be a crime to say I only encountered it on a circuit. I think I still encounter it until this day in everyday life. And you have to be really tactical and careful on how you handle yourself in a situation, because sometimes people use that as a tool to provoke you to say, see, black people always get angry, or small island people act like that. So you have to be very tactical and careful in how you present yourself. And you have to rise above it and turn it around in a way and educate them through their ignorance. So I wouldn't say, yes, I experienced it as an athlete. Yes, I did. Being held up at airports in countries when I had to go run a competition there, and sitting in the customs room for stupid hours because of myself and my colleague from Africa, from Namibia or from Kenya, don't have the right paperwork. But we do have the right paperwork. But you have customs officers who feel like, okay, these guys are from a place that they never heard of, and they want to just keep us because of their own ignorance. And yeah, sometimes you have to bite your tongue, bite your lip, and be careful on what you want to say, because you don't want to spend the night in a jail for something that, you know, you're standing up for yourself. So you have to be really creative in how you stand up for yourself. So yeah, I've dealt with it. I still deal with it to today. And I kind of use it in a way to put myself in the position that I'm in now. Yeah, I'm doing something in the country that I live in. And I made a conscious decision a few weeks ago. Instead of sitting back on the wayside and let somebody else try to figure out something that I've experienced, I decided to throw my hat in the ring to be a part of the solution. And I'm making myself available for one of the political parties here, and use my experiences and my knowledge and to try to find a way so that people could be more knowledgeable and aware of what racism is, what it does to you, and how we can eradicate some of the ignorances that have been put out there, and so that we can become better individuals for each other in a way. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Springer. Thank you very much. I've been looking forward to talking to you when I come that side. Yes?
Yes, Troy, just a few closing questions. One, on a lighter note, your favorite football team outside of Ajax?
ADO Den Haag.
ADO Den Haag. So, as for those that don't know, that's a small provincial club in Holland. They float between the Premier Division and the First Division.
Yes, we're in the second division now. We're down there. We're struggling now. but I love my team. But I love my football team in The Hague like I love Cleveland County cricket team.
Yes, and they have some very die-hard supporters, just like the Cleveland County cricket team in Bermuda. There's no other team, no matter what. So that's one. What do you miss from being in Holland that you're not, since you're from Bermuda? Do you miss the climate, the people? What do you miss while you're living in the Netherlands?
I miss my family. I miss my brothers, and I really, really, really miss my boys down Devil's Hole. Yeah, I miss going down the dock and sit off on the boat with my boy Burning Socks and Sinky and Fred, and having a cold beer and just listen to them talk and watch them clean fish. I really, really miss that. And my brother Alan would come and his wife Andrea, and we just sit off and we enjoy life. And I really, really miss that, man. Those are the best days of my life. Yeah, that's what.
If there's one thing you can, if you were to come back to Bermuda and there was one thing you can change, bringing it back from the Netherlands, what would it be?
I would like to bring more sports science. We have some good coaches, and I would like to help our coaches become more aware of how good they are with sports science and help them identify themselves better with that. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. One of my good friends in Bermuda is Sandro Fabla. He's a physiotherapist, and we speak the same language. That is something that I would love to do together with him. I would love to do that. Yeah.
Most Bermudian players dream of the UK or the United States as far as playing their football. Do you think Bermudians are suited to play in the Netherlands?
It's funny you said that. You don't know this, but Kenny Thompson brought a group of guys down from the Netherlands in 2016 down to Bermuda. 15 or 16, I think. And I asked all of those guys, because about 4 of them came out of AJAX. Well, 2 of them are left at the academy now. 2 of them are with me at Young AJAX. And I asked them, I said, how are the guys in Bermuda? He says, Troy, they're technically better than us. So the only problem is they're not physically enough to handle our load. I say, technically wise, we can handle the Netherlands. I think, I tell my brother this a lot, I think we missed our opportunity by not coming here. Don't go to Spain, don't go to the UK, don't go to America. Come here. Come to ADO Den Haag. You don't have to go to AJAX. You don't have to go to AJAX. You can come to ADO Den Haag. You can go to Sparta. You can go to Excelsior. You can go to those 3 clubs and harness your skills, and the chances of you making it to the Premier League or to Germany or to Spain is better than going to the UK. And I'm not saying that because I live here, but I've worked in football now for the last 4 years. And like I said, I talked to the young kids that went to Bermuda, and one of them plays for Paris Saint-Germain. One of them is in Bayer Leverkusen, and 2 of them are with me at Young AJAX, and one of them is the biggest talent that he's going to be playing first team next year. And he said to me, he says, listen, Dougie, these guys are technically sound in Bermuda, man. These guys they are better than us technically. And you know how good we are here in the Netherlands technically on the football. These Bermudian guys are technically sound. They're just not physically fit enough to handle the game. So my advice is, if any parent listens to this and they want to send their kid somewhere, I say take a club like ADO Den Haag, take a club like Sparta Rotterdam or Excelsior. Why do I say these clubs? Because I know their youth programs. Their fundamentals, what they teach at their youth programs, quite fitness level wise and technical wise, it fits perfectly for a Bermudian kid. So that's my advice.
All right. Yeah. And to wrap it up, just give some positive statements from where you are to the people in Bermuda. You know, it's COVID-19, the whole world struggling, but you have found a way in Holland. You've continued to make a name for yourself. You continue to transition into different roles and be accepted by people outside of the world of athletics. So for those young kids or young adults in Bermuda that are probably having some issues about what should I do next in life, just tell them, how to go about it in a few seconds.
I would just say, believe in yourself, challenge yourself. Even when times get difficult, it's okay. I think a difficult time is a good indication that you're in the right place. Because if it's difficult, that means you're doing something good. That's the only thing I can tell you. Don't be afraid of a challenge. Yeah. Don't be afraid of making a mistake, because if you make a mistake, that also means you're closer to your success. Just understand that you're not going to make that mistake again, and understand the feeling you had when you made that mistake is the feeling you're trying to get when you're trying to perfect it. So that's the only advice I can give you.
All right, fantastic. And to close it out, we would try to get Miss Flora Duffy on, the Olympic champion in triathlon. And do you have any parting remarks to her as we close out this? Even though it's Football Insight, this is Bermuda today. So,
all I can say, it was a pleasure to watch Flora win that medal. And the proudest moment for me was going to work the next day and people actually saying, "Hey, Bermuda got a gold medal. Hey, you guys are the smallest country in the world to get a medal." So I can say, Flora, thank you for putting Bermuda on the map, and for me to go to work the next day and actually have my colleagues say, "Hey, Bermuda got a gold medal." That made my week, even to today, a great week, because it put us on the map. It made people recognize us. So that was a positive one. Yeah, and keep doing what she's doing. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Mr. Troy Douglas, this has been fantastic. On behalf of the Caribbean Sports Entertainment Management Group, the on-site Football Insight platform, this has been fabulous to have you on. We can talk all day. We'll definitely have you back on another segment. I thought it was just football, but I see you have a cricket background, which is your first love. You also have the value of sports with your degree in sports management. So there's so many avenues we can talk about. But on behalf of the platform and Vernon Springer and myself and the team behind us, which also has other Bermudians involved and persons from around the world, India, Guyana, the United States, England, we say thank you to have someone that is a recognized globally, made a way through different sports, and is making yourself well known in sports through different avenues. So we say from Bermuda and Antigua, we salute you, and we'd love to have you back again. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cal, for having me. And Mr. Springer, thank you very much. And I'll be looking forward to coming back anytime you guys need me. Yeah.
Hi, this is Dwight York.
Hi there, guys. It's Sol Campbell here.
Bonjour, je suis Samuelito.
Hola, soy Juan Sebastián Verón.
Hello guys, I'm Ture Yaya.
Hi, this is Brad Friedel.
What's up guys, Nico Aneka speaking. Please join me.
Agradezco la invitación.
Join me in full support of the Islands Cup Open
Coming summer 2021.
Island Cup Open.
The Island Cup.
I'll be there.
Let's do this.